Hello and good evening, friend. Today we are going to talk about a very important topic, that is the power of non-verbal communication. Why it is so that it has the power compared to the verbal form of communication. You better know that non-verbal form of the communication is the communication where the minimum or no uses of the word is there. In exact form, it is the non-use of word. When anybody communicate with the help of gesture, posture, smile, eye contact, body language, dress code, or through any of the means, but not with the help of word, then that is non-verbal form of communication. Why it is so that it is powerful form of the communication? Even some of the researchers say that the non-verbal form of communication is about 80 to 90%, some say 70%, has more power than the verbal form of the communication. The trust, the faith, the impact, and the perception related to the non-verbal form of communication is comparatively higher than the verbal form of the communication. Even it is said that when the non-verbal form of the communication is not supportive to the verbal form of the communication, then the verbal form of communication used to fails. That's why non-verbal form of communication is considered more powerful, more faithful, more truthful form of the communication. So there are of course some of the reason for which this form of communication is considered to be most powerful, trustworthy, faith and impactful communication. So the first reason due to which the non-verbal form of communication is one of the most powerful communication is that it is communicated not with the tongue but with the other organs, supportive organs. What I mean to say that? I mean to say that is very crystal clear that non-verbal form of communication is done by the whole body, and the whole body when radiate the energy in a certain direction to a certain people, then it has profound effect on that particular people. It means that whenever you communicate with the eyes, with a smile, with your hand gesture, with your body movement, then other part of the body is involved in the communication. But when you communicate with the words, then only the tongues involves in the communication. So there is the large circulation of the energy, large transformation of the energy in the non-verbal form of communication. That's the reason that this form of the communication is most powerful form of the communication than the verbal form of communication. Now moving to the second point that is very important is that when anybody does the non-verbal form of communication, then he use to save much energy. Yeah, when we speak, then lots of our energy is radiated into the air or into the surroundings, or it converted into the heat energy. So the effect of communication is not as much as non-verbal form, because here the energy is used to communicate only with the meaning, only focus to the meaning and focus to the work. The energy does not convert to the heat or other form. So the energy is saved in the non-verbal form of communication when the person used to express his feedback or any of the thing, when he can do with the non-verbal form, then he used to save the energy. So that particular person who used to communicate more non-verbally, they are much energetic, much active person compared to those person who are very much talkative. So this is the reason that non-verbal form of communication used to save our energy, and we can utilize that particular energy in other way of activity. Now moving to the next of the reason why for this form of the communication is most powerful form of the communication is that when you communicate less with the word and more with the body, then your personality is taken as a serious one. Yes, the people used to take you a serious nature people, a hardworking people, a problem solving people, and not problem creating people. Yes, speaking less has always profound effect on the surroundings, on the crowd, on the group, and the people used to take you a serious guy. So this is the benefit of communicating non-verbally. Now, next important point is that when anybody is successful in communicating non-verbally, then he saved the situation, he saved the crisis. Because you might have read written on the office that smiling is the best way to avoid many of the conflict and solving many of the problem. So when somebody is successful or having some tactic to communicate non-verbally, then he can resolve problem, he can create a atmosphere of silence which is altogether productive in nature, or which is altogether motivative in nature. So communicating non-verbally is always a good gesture. So this is the benefit of communicating non-verbally. Again, communicating non-verbally give you enough time to think upon a subject. That's why the person who used to communicate non-verbally more is considered more thoughtful, more intuitive, more intellectual. That's the reason that when you communicate non-verbally, then you get enough time in between different instances of the thought to analyze them, to calculate them, to observe them, and to draw outcome of each and every saying. So you take a good and informative decision. So the lack and the chances of failure automatically reduces. So this is the benefit that communicating more non-verbally always help anybody. Now, moving to the next point, that is very important, that even this form of the communication, that is non-verbal form of the communication, is the highest order of communication. Even you have the power to communicate with the surrounding air, water, fire, and even God also. So when you communicate with anybody with all this panchatattva, then again you communicate with whole power and whole efficiency. So automatically this reflect in the result, and you get the desired result what you want. So these are few of the reason why for I am saying that using minimum word is the way to build the personality, also build the way of success also. So for today, this is all about non-verbal form of communication. We will meet with some other interesting topic in next video. Till then, bye bye.